Welcome back to My Mythical Meta. My name is Travis. I'm joined by Benjamin and Randy on tonight's
News from the Warfront.
We have got a post from our D&D. We are in the month of hot takes, and whoo boy, have we got a spicy take from Reddit this week. This guy posted about being a DM, and he basically says that he hates Session Zero. That Session Zero is a flowery waste of time, waste of energy.
Well, let's just read his
post.
post.
We're just going to read it. It's not very long. He says, I like the idea of some parts of Session Zero, saying things like, this game doesn't allow for evil characters, or player versus player, or the characters all are in a party and they will stay a party. If players ever wonder why, then they need to come up with a reason, or roll new characters. Like, those are things that he does in his Session Zeros. He also says this is a place for house rules. Some races can be played, others not, if you want to play a certain prestige class or whatever. But then he goes on to talk about what I think is becoming more and more common, especially in online gaming, people doing online D&D games together. This person says, all the requests for what triggers whom seem very tiresome. If I float a plot that seems uncomfortable, tell me, and it'll die on the vine. But I'm not going to hand out a laundry list of things that make you sad for you to check off. If you want to give me a heads up in private, we'll talk, but Jiminy Christmas. So I love this post because on the surface, there are some things that I can easily jump in agreement with this guy. You know, I've never felt the need for super long, drawn-out Session Zero processes. But that's probably because I'm not doing the online gaming that he is. I'm only ever playing with my core group of friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, saying that this is not a player versus player game and that you guys are part of a party and you'll stay a party, those are all very normal for me. And I guess it's because I already know what floats and what doesn't in my own group that I've never felt the need to send out surveys of possible triggers.
I feel like I guess he's not really asking a question, but I feel like he also kind of answered his own, like, statement in a way.
Yeah.
So, like the first part, it's all good. I feel like, you know, talk about, like, major theme, major settings, character creation, all that house rule stuff, fine. But if you don't want to give them a list of triggers, they don't give them a list of triggers. Just tell them, hey, send me a private message of things that you may find offensive or triggering, and we can have a private conversation about it. Done. You don't have to give them a survey.
Yeah.
You just ask them a question, and if they have anything, I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
It's super
I feel
simple.
like he makes his own Session Zeros worse.
Yeah, he's getting in his own way.
Yeah.
Well, I think he kind of misses the point of what Session Zero is about, right? Like, if Session Zero, like, you're about to embark on a campaign. It's minimum 3 sessions, likely. You know, this could be something that goes on for months.
Yeah.
And you and your players are trying to have a good experience. So it's not just about limiting what you can do as DM or whatever. It's about trying to make a fun experience. And if you're not willing to hear what's going to ruin the game for somebody, and you're not willing to, I don't know, it seems like he wants to just be able to do whatever he wants and not hear his players' perspectives on what's fun. And I'll tell you, if you've ever been in a game where somebody like suddenly checks out because something's not, you know, something's going wrong emotionally for them or whatever, like it can ruin a night. Like, it ruins everybody else's experience. Yeah. And I would imagine it ruins your experience as Dungeon Master. Like, I can't imagine not wanting to know the things that are going to help my players have fun.
Yeah. Do you think something happened that sparked this post? That nobody reached out to him about something, and then he included something in a game, and people got mad at him for it?
Well, it sounds like it's the opposite. It sounds like he probably found one of these surveys online and sent it out to his players, and he got, like...
Too much feedback?
Okay. He's like,
I can't
I can't
do anything that I wanted to in in my game.
Yeah. And that's part of the problem, I think, is that he probably designed his game before he got feedback from his players.
Yeah.
It's like session -1. He designs a thing and then says, "Oh, should find some people to play with this." And he found some people, and they're like, "Well, I can't do that, and I can't do that, and I can't do that." And he's like, "Well, dang it! My cool idea is just..."
Yeah, that rings true to me on this side of the post. Yeah,
I was going to say, if you're gonna be in that kind of situation where you're like I have a campaign I want to run, and this is how I want to run it, and if you are playing with strangers, I feel like on Roll20s, typically you can put out like an ad searching for players as the DM. It's like, put all of that in there, say like, hey, I am playing a like grimdark world. There is slave trade and, prostitution and things like that are, it is not a happy-go-lucky fantasy place. This is dark fantasy, and this is the story I want to tell, and then of course you could maybe go in there into the thing with the players and say like, I won't direct any of this at you if you don't want it, but if you're fine with your character getting captured and sent off into slavery and having to break out or something like that, that's whatever. But if someone's like, I'm cool with everything else, just don't direct it at my character. Like, I don't want my character getting, sent to a brothel.
I was thinking, as I read this, about whenever we did our Dawn of Worlds game for the Pathfinder game we're in now. And every time I made a new merfolk city, I would also establish a new race that was that merfolk city's servants. That was that merfolk city's slaves.
I was like, servants. That's such a nice way to put it.
So one of them was the automatons, one of them was the flesh warps, and one of them was the zombies.
I will say at least all of them are soulless.
Yeah, soulless, mindless beings anyway.
Yes, it's not like you're abusing someone so much. I mean, the zombies, it's like you're abusing some loved one's dead person, or even the flesh warps, like that's an amalgamation of dead people, if that's what I'm imagining it's supposed to be.
What did happen though, as that happened, Derek's Kristen was very vocal about how she was like, I do not want real slaves in this world. She was very vocal about how uncomfortable that makes her. And I want to give some credit to you that you have not included any references to it, any plot devices relevant or connected to slavery in this world.
I mean, I guess for me, because they are, like we said, mindless, soulless, to me, it's a little bit separated from, like, a live slave trade, if that makes sense. Like, if there was a lot of fantasy, there's, like, oh, these elves were captured and they're being sold off, It's like, well, elves are being captured for very particular reasons, a lot of times in those kind of settings, but it's like, I think it's a robot.
Yeah.
It's got the same mental capacity as a tea kettle. So, so I guess that doesn't really bother me. It's like, it's robots. It's zombies can be just like, oh, it's sad, but it's not.
It's sad. It's a little evil.
It's evil and sad, but it's like, well, I don't think it's so triggering in like I said, like an actual live person slave, like that. I don't really want to deal with it in the game. I mean, at some point we're gonna go to those cities, and there's gonna be zombies or flesh warps or automatons, and maybe I will target a storyline at one of them. But I don't ever plan for it to be like, oh, we're suffering. Oh,
yeah. See, Benjamin, the slaves that I put in my cities, they like it. They're treated well.
No. They don't like it because they can't like it. And they don't hate it because they can't hate.
Well, I've been sitting back here thinking every single thing that Randy says to justify the slavery of the zombies is the same thing people said to justify the slavery of any other race.
No.
They're mindless, soulless, they can't feel.
They're lesser animals, they're not humans.
Okay, no. I am not saying that about any kind of real life situation. I'm not justifying that for what they said then. I'm saying in my fantasy world I am the god.
They're robots, they're androids.
Yeah.
The robots, they have no thoughts. It is magic. Bring them to life to do a specific function.
Might I recommend
zombies?
The Star Trek,
the exact same thing. It's just with flesh and bone instead of metal. In my mind, they are mindless, soulless, magically controlled constructs.
You should watch Measure of a Man, Star Trek
Oh,
episode.
it's so good. That is my favorite episode.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Is that the one where Data has like this little bitty robot looking thing? It's like a little stumpy with like 2 legs.
I don't remember. So
No, I
in
don't
Measure of
remember
a
that
Man, Starfleet has given Data an order to go to another ship to perform a different function. And Data says that he doesn't want to go, that he wants to stay on the Enterprise. And they basically put his sentience and his free will on trial, saying, is he property of Starfleet or is he a person who can make his own choices?
I
It's
think
a
I saw
really
a clip of
amazing
something
episode.
similar to that, where Data is doing something and like Picard is like telling him to do something else, like the opposite. But Data's like, I can't do that. Well, why can't you do that? I can't tell you why. I order you to tell me why. I can't. But it's like he's also trying to protect them by not telling them. So I don't know what the full context was, but that's what it reminded me of. It's like,
Interesting.
I'm following my program by disobeying an order.
Interesting. Okay. I'll need to look up that.
Yeah.
Measure of a Man, I guess, has such a good episode title that it's like so memorable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Eldorado Gaming. Eldorado Gaming is your site for gifts and gaming accessories like dice, playmats, and other items to bling out your games. This product showcase is our Treasure Dice. For the fledgling dice goblin and for longtime collectors, these dice come in 8 beautiful and striking color varieties. If you want to try out the weight and feel of metal dice, these are the dice for you. Use the promo code META for 10% off your order. Find us on YouTube at Eldorado Gaming TX or our home site at eldoradogaming.com.
So, have we got any advice for this poster?
Yeah.
Take whatever survey you had,
Don't be a
and throw
jerk.
it away, and then just ask them in a simple email, or put any kind of triggering things that you do want to include in the post when you're searching for them. But just be like, here's what I want, here's, blah, 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 house rules. If you have any issues or triggers, please send me a private message.
Yeah, I really don't think it takes that much. And you really should be considering the comfort of your players in your game.
Yeah.
The same is true for any game, any board game, any D&D group. We play Magic together, and happy people are going to help you have a happier time. So,
Yeah.
there's no reason to torment someone psychologically just because you think it might make them sad, in the words that he put in this post. A laundry list of things that might make them sad. It's deeper than that.
But you know what? Even if it wasn't deeper than that, if they're there to, like, sometimes you watch a sad movie or read a sad book because you want some catharsis and to feel sad. But you know what? If I'm playing D&D, it's probably not because I want to feel sad. So even if it's that simple, even if that's all it is, here's some things that make me sad. Don't include them. Then don't include them. Like they came to have an adventure and they probably want some anxiety as the intense moments. They want highs and lows, but they don't want that particular emotion, and you shouldn't be eager to give them that particular emotion.
Yeah, if they don't.
If they don't.
I do would also add, like, let's say that person does get some feedback, and someone's like, "Oh, I don't like this, I don't like that," and if it feels like like maybe they have some issues with some things that you've already laid out, like, we're kind of doing this kind of darker thing, and you can't turn people down. Like, if you're the DM and you're on like Roll20 and you're searching, you can say, hey, I don't think that this is going to be a campaign for you. I'll keep your contact if we run another game, or if we go into a different arc and all that stuff's behind us and we're in a different chapter. Maybe
I think that's great advice.
Bring you in as an extra player later on, but for these sessions, I just be upfront with them. Be like, this is what I want to play, and I just don't think you're going to be a good fit. And I don't want you to be uncomfortable.
It's okay to tell somebody that it's not going to work out this time.
But yeah, I think that's one of our running themes. You're not hostage to particular people, and they're not hostage to you. So I think part of the point of Rule 0, especially, or Session 0 in this case, and especially amongst strangers, is trying to determine compatibility for the kinds of fun that you want to have. And if you want to have a gritty, offensive, whatever time, there is a time and place for that and dealing with those issues. And other people may be in a different place and not willing to participate. And y'all aren't going to play together.
Yeah.
Or you shouldn't play together. And that's okay. But that's the whole point of Session Zero. And if you just think, well, it sucks that I have to listen to people during Session Zero complain about their fields, well, then you're missing the point of what Session Zero is about, right?
Yeah.
I think, especially with strangers, Session Zero shouldn't be after you've committed to a group. It should be before you've committed to a group. And
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree too. I think if you want Session Zero to be shorter, then you should play with people you already know.
hey,
Like,
there you go.
if you don't like all of this Session Zero stuff, then you should work harder on recruiting people that you already know. You know, real life friends or people you've played with before and had good times with, rather than looking for new people.
Yeah.
But
That's great advice.
if you're looking for new people, then I think it's just a necessary step. It's just like speed dating or real dating is like you have to find the personality quirks that you like and steer away from the ones you don't like. And sometimes the only way to do that is trial and error. Is to just date people, date these players, and Session Zero is part of that. I mean it's just like looking at somebody's, I don't know, dating profile and asking their hobbies. In this particular hobby that is so focused on storytelling and acting and theater, and like I don't know, I think a lot of role-playing game people still think that it's, and obviously there are a lot of similarities with, they think that it's like a video game, but it's collaborative storytelling. These other players have stories that they want to tell too. It's not just yours. These are not just pawns to move through the stages of your game. They have stories that they want to tell. And so in order to discover if your stories match up with one another, if your stories can coexist in the same space, then asking these in-depth questions is your best way to do that. Is your best way to find out whether these stories can coexist with each other, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I like this post, and I get the sentiment from it. It can be annoying to audition or to interview, long, lengthy interviews of people when you just want to fill the position. But if you want the right person, then that's a necessary process.
Yeah. I really like your analogy of dating. It's kind of like this person says, I don't want to, I want a significant other. I want a girlfriend, but I only want to ask like 3 questions. They sent me their profile. I don't want it to be a big profile. I want 2 pictures and 3 sentences, and then I want to commit to...
I want to commit to 6 months with them.
Right.
Ooh.
And then you find out that they're into hiking, and you're like, hiking?
Brandy.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah. Or worse, you find out they're an introvert.
Oh, God.
Oh,
The
my
worst.
God.
Sorry, they call back to last week's episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I can't imagine that you wouldn't want to spend as much time as possible getting to know people that you're going to spend the next few months with. Because once you do start the game, then it's even more wasted time if you didn't find out that y'all were incompatible until it was too late.
Yeah.
Right? If you go through 2 sessions and find out you're not having fun, now you're in a problem. Do you want to spend 4 more months with this group and slog through it, or do you want to abandon the campaign that you're 2 sessions into and start over again? Like that's a worse position to be in than, take a good solid hour to do a session 0 and have real conversations with real people and see if this is a group you want to spend some time.
Kind of makes you think of the measure twice, cut once.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
All right. Benjamin, how can people contact us directly with their own news from the Warfront?
If you've got something you want to talk to us about or have found a post in the wild on Reddit or X or Tumblr or whatever, contact us at mymythicalmeta@gmail.com.
Yeah, and we will be happy, we'll be ecstatic to help people with any personal situations they're in, or to find just wild situations out in the blogosphere and, be the peanut gallery offering advice to people who won't listen. That's what we're here for.
And it would not be the first time that we have responded to multiple listeners' news from the Warfront. We've done that in multiple episodes, and I feel like have gotten some positive feedback from the people who have requested our opinions.
Yeah, we give expert advice.
Absolutely.
Randy, where can people go if they want to take the jump, take the leap to become a patron?
Patreon.com/My Mythical Meta.
Perfect. Randy, you got any final thoughts?
No, I think we do a good job every single week solving the world's problems. Just putting the final word in.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, listeners, and thank you, Benjamin and Randy, for being my great friends. Adios.
See ya.
Later.
This episode was sponsored by Eldorado Gaming. Use the promo code META for 10% off your order. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. This episode was edited by me, Travis Konishek, and our intro and outro music is by Tyler Heath of the Oh Hellos.